Hello everyone. This is my first story, so it may not be perfect, but to start off my channel I figured I'd tell you a true creepy story involving myself. The creepy man in the van. I was hanging out with my friends Matt, Joshua and Jennifer. We were all around the ages of 13 through 15. I believe I was the oldest, so they all looked to me as the leader of our group, and Jennifer was my girlfriend at the time. We were hanging out in an abandoned house not far from Matt's house, smoking pot and doing what teens just did. It wasn't far from getting dark and our neighborhood was in a suburban area, so our parents didn't really mind us staying out as long as the street lights were on. As we were walking down the street, a creepy van slowly drove up beside us, then stopped. The van had no windows except in the front and looked like a work van without a logo, and it was extremely beaten up. We all stared at the van out of curiosity and a bit of fear, and quite frankly, we were all pretty stoned. Slowly, the van's doors opened up, and the man inside gave us all the chills. His face was grimy, and it looked like it was covered in oil and dirt. He had a t-shirt so ragged it looked like he was homeless, and a pair of filthy blue jeans. He then got out of the car and walked around us to begin to engage in conversation. From what I remember, it went a little something like this. "What are you kids up to?" in a raspy voice. "We're just heading home." "I smell some funk on you guys. Got any weed I can buy?" "Just this." I pulled out a small bag of weed. Since we had already smoked the majority of it, there wasn't much left. He smelled it. "That's some dirt weed. Here you go." He handed me the bag back. We thought at this point he was going to just leave us alone, and maybe he was just a guy who thought he could get some cheap weed off of us since we were teenagers. But we were wrong. He then got back in his van, but in the side, and said, "You guys hungry? Plenty of room back here. I can take you guys to KFC or something." To which I replied, "No thank you, we have no money." "No worries, I'll pay for you guys." To which I replied, "We really ought to get back home. We are almost late." "No problem, I'll take you." "No thank you, it's not that far." When he realized I wouldn't budge, he seemed a bit upset but trying to mask his anger. He then hopped in the front seat and said, "Be safe, a lot of weirdos out here," and creepily smiled at us. He drove away and we were all relieved. We started to make jokes calling the men names like Chester the Molester and other insults and whatnot. We walked for about 2 minutes, then I heard a vehicle down the street. I looked back and noticed the man in the van had another person in the front seat with him, and he had just circled the block. He was trailing us from a small distance, and I noticed this. I felt a nauseating feeling in my stomach. Why would this man circle the block just to trail us? And I knew we had to get out of here. I told my friends in a serious voice, "Don't look back, but the man in the creepy van is down the street stalking us. I have a plan though. On my go, we are going to run. Follow me, and we will make it out of here." My friends seemed quite terrified. We kept our pace, walking in dead silence until we got close enough to where I wanted us to be. I shouted, "Run!" The man in the van sped up and was now trying to catch us to do God knows what. We all bolted towards a dirt trail for bicycles with dirt heels and mounds that would wreck a vehicle if it were to follow, but on foot you could navigate through. As we all made it, we ran through the hills. I looked back and the two men had left their vehicle and were chasing us with what looked like tire irons or something of the sort. We reached an open grassy plain, then jumped, slid, and rode down this hill which led us to a shopping plaza with bright lights and plenty of cars. We were in the clear. The men wouldn't dare chase us, and I was right. They stopped and they noticed. They would have had too much attention and most likely retreated back to their vehicle. We didn't want to call the police, mainly because we were all stoned, but pretty much sobered up after such a horrifying experience. Plus, my friends had vandalized the abandoned house we were at prior to the creepy man in the van stalking to us. This was one of the most scariest moments in my life, and I look back at it proud to this day that I was able to protect my friends even when I myself was so scared. Thank you for listening, everyone, and if you like this story, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future creepy stories. I would try to post at least one new story a week.